Welcome to the Mojo Market Report. Here's your hosts, Dave Sturchio and Chris Gueci.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode and installment of the Mojo Market Report right here on a Hump Day Wednesday, December the 21st. It is Dave Sturchio, it is Chris Gueci, and of course it is A5 Anthony behind the glass at Chop Studios. Lots to get into today as we head towards week number 16. Some of your fantasy football semifinals, and it's just a whole lot of fun stuff. But Mojo Market is cooking right now, and there's a lot of money to be made. Don't leave any of it on the table. I know the Mets decided not to leave any of it on the table.
Yeah, that's a curious situation. We all went to bed with Carlos Correa. We were expecting a news conference to take place at some point, either yesterday or today, and they pushed it back. They say there's a problem with the physical, but they didn't say that they weren't signing him. It just said that they had some things to work out. Well, the Mets seemed to work it out sooner than you did.
Steve Cohen, like a thief in the night, just came in there and swooped in and got him, and the Mets got themselves a heck of a roster right now. But shout out to the San Francisco Giants. You are now 0 for 2 in massive free agents to try to acquire over there, first with Judge and now with Correa. That's crazy. But I do want to also say, before we get into all the stuff we want to get into today, that breaking news this morning was the passing of Franco Harris, legendary pioneer of the NFL, the Immaculate Reception, which, if you're a Cowboys fan, you look at that game or you look at anything the Steelers have done, like me and my father and everybody around me says, like, well, if there was replay, that might have hit the ground. It doesn't matter. It's one of the greatest plays of all time. Franco Harris was like Mr. Pittsburgh. He's like compared to just, guys that represented the city and a sport, really. I mean, Franco Harris is something special.
You think Pittsburgh Steelers, you think Franco Harris, Terry Bradshaw, etc.
Yeah,
he's one of the
legends. That team's got
some
serious history, and I kind of wonder what his market share price would be on the Mojo Market. He had to surpass King Henry and stuff. He would be top dog.
Maybe not. No? I don't know. Offense is up. We'll just say that.
Offense is up. I like it. You're right. All right. Today on the show, on the program, we're going to be doing a little deep diving here into the 2023 offseason. I know we're not there yet. I know we're fully entrenched on the playoff push. I know we're excited about it. But there are things to talk about on some of these guys that are going to either A, leave their team, B, stay home, C, maybe never see the light of day again. So today we're going to talk about the 2023 free agent class of quarterbacks. And you can't talk quarterbacks and free agency without talking top dog and the top guy right now. And I don't know if it's ever going to be touched, considering bank value and Super Bowl bonuses and all that stuff. It's not going to be touched. The GOAT of GOATs, especially within football and within the Mojo Market, Tom Brady. Tom Brady is set to become a free agent, right? And he can do whatever he wants. My assumption is, if we're talking right now, just openly, he is the highest on Mojo. He banks 741 a season, and he's projected to get another 548 going forward. All signs point to him playing one more year. No more distractions. No more got to worry about a divorce or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like it's settled. He'll see his kids when he does. Mom will see the kids when she does. You know what I mean? Like that's all done and in the back, behind him now. What do we do with Brady? Are you investing in Brady? Thinking the long game? If you invested in Brady right now, and I know the price is ridiculous, but you can invest whatever you want. By the way, shout out to Mojo yesterday. I don't know if you read this. Mojo got its first ever $100,000 deposit yesterday.
Oh,
it's a huge milestone. That is somebody was in there I know everything about everything. Take my money. I'm about to just really cash this in. But anyway, talking about big money, we're talking about Tom Brady. This year, it's been, it's funny. You look at his stats. He's almost at 3,900 yards, so more likely over 4,000 yards passing for this year. 20 touchdowns to 7 picks, so over a 2-to-1 ratio on that. I don't know, man. Does he come back? We've talked about this at length at some points throughout the last couple weeks. Does he come back? Where's he going?
All right, well, I guess really it doesn't matter where he goes in terms of the Mojo Market. If he comes back, you're going to make money because it's going to go up again. They're going to probably shoot that future value. If Tom Brady signs, let's say, for a 1-year or 2-year deal, I would expect his future value to be up around $11, right? So that's going to increase his share price accordingly. I mean, it's a little bit of a risk if you're going to throw multipliers on Tom Brady right now, for sure, because if he does retire, then you lose a decent portion of your portfolio, potentially.
All of it.
Well, no, because it's a percentage.
No, because there's plenty of bank value to mess around with.
But there's a high floor. You know, like Tom Brady has set himself out. Right now, he's looking at, if you got 540, he's about $169 in banked value, which is
I mean, look at all the white on the chart. That's
absolutely
all
absurd. I had to actually create a new, different type of graphic for Tom. I'm not even kidding. If you notice the rest of them, they're a little thicker. Yeah. They take up a little more of the phone. I had to make his a little longer and thinner to make it work.
Prehistoric has been playing since the day.
I feel like the play is to go long on Brady. The only issue that I have is I don't think that there's a realistic opportunity for him in New England. While it would be a cool story, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady have been at each other's throats or have been at odds since they broke up, essentially.
It was a rough breakup. I think the Bill Belichick and Brady breakup was actually worse than his divorce.
It wasn't necessarily public on their end. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick handled it extremely professionally, and in a couple years, I'm sure they're going to be best of friends. Mm-hmm. But right now, I think they need to let things dissipate a little bit, and there's no offense to speak of in New England for Tom Brady to go and try and make it work over there. It doesn't make any sense. It's like we would get a very similar version of what we had with Tom Brady in his last year in New England, which wasn't a very good version of him. You could look at the Bucs now, right? They pretty much have verbally committed to Todd Bowles for another season. I don't think Tom Brady wants to be there if Todd Bowles is the head coach. I don't know the relationship, but it seems to me like he's not a fan of that offense right now. Looking at Brady's numbers, 20-7, that's pretty good. All things considered, they do have pass catchers there, but they've been nicked up a little bit this season. He has to go to a place like, is he going to go to Vegas where there's no defense? I don't know about that. I feel like either San Francisco, Tampa Bay, or nowhere.
Can I give you one off-the-wall prediction here? This is going to sound ridiculous, but there's draft capital, a lot of money to spend, young, hungry team, great new coach. The confidence in the quarterback is high right now, but if you had a chance to grab a Tom Brady, maybe you would. The Detroit Lions. Dome. No worries about weather. I don't know. I've been thinking about this long and hard. I'm like, well, where could this guy... A plethora of receivers, a decent young running game, a really good offensive line. Like, I don't know. Again, very off the wall.
Tom Brady
way
ain't
off the radar.
Detroit. Not going.
He would be
to
bigger than Marshall Mathers himself.
Not going to the Motor City. I can promise you that.
All right.
No, so I don't know. Now that I'm looking at the options out there, I don't know that there's many. I know that teams might move things around for
like because if they got out of the, let's just say the Detroit Lions spend that first round pick on a quarterback.
But what good is draft capital if you're Tom Brady right now? I think he's looking at teams that are like, let's get rid of all our draft capital and go all in for this season for Tom.
No, they don't have to trade for him.
Well, I know, but
I'm saying if the Detroit Lions took a quarterback in this year's draft, right, considering where they pick, wherever they pick, mid-teens, whatever, right, because they might be a playoff team. Like, what if out of nowhere they just said, you know what, we're going to draft the future of this team. Goff's contract is we can do without, and we bring Tom Brady in here for 1 year. I think, A, that would fill the seats 100%, and B, you run with, you get Brady Rodgers twice.
Right now is... As crazy as this is to say,
if Rodgers came back,
I don't think that they're having any issues filling seats in Detroit right now.
Right now, it's hot. Right.
But
if they fall short,
and
they're going to want to
verbally commit to Jared Goff. And Tom Brady doesn't strike me as the tutor type.
I think at this point he is. He's not going to go in there and be like, my job, son.
Let me say this: if they have a high first round pick, Tom Brady's going to have a little bit more say in where that pick is going to be used, what that pick's going to be used on. And if it's another quarterback, he's not going there.
I'm just saying, like
he's not going there.
Amon-Ra St. Brown,
but understanding what I was saying about the draft capital, why it's no relevance to Tom Brady is because what is he looking at a 2 years down the line team? Like when you draft these guys in 2 or 3 years when they all pan out.
I'm just looking. No. Generally, I just
stop it.
Anyway, speaking of a quarterback that won't have that large of a market, but maybe, I don't know. I mean, considering what he's done in 2 weeks of football with the Los Angeles Rams, Baker Mayfield is also a free agent going into next year. Now, Baker Mayfield, again, not the greatest year this year between Carolina and here. Just under 1,700 yards so far. He's got 8 touchdowns to 7 picks. Not the greatest ratio in the world. He's the 31st ranked quarterback on the Mojo Market. Ready for this? He banks $526 a season. He's got future value of $505. They're basically saying, all right, somebody's going to sign him to a 1-year deal, and he's going to be the starter. You would think if this is what he's banking, somebody's going to play this guy as their starting quarterback.
Or it looks like they expect Baker Mayfield to play maybe 10 to 15 more games scattered over a 6-year
as
stretch.
a starter, and then just goodbye.
But not even. He's just going to catch on in some places here or there.
That's
Baker
true.
Mayfield's going to be the emergency guy for the rest of his career because I don't think any team is going to want Baker as their backup headbutting people on the sidelines. It's well documented here on the Mojo Market Report that I don't think anybody likes Baker Mayfield.
Big fan of Baker.
I don't like Baker Mayfield, but it's more so like if he was a good quarterback, I would say, yeah, I don't like him, but he could ball out, so it doesn't matter. He can't. So it just makes it that much worse when you suck as a person, right?
Nobody went to his birthday party.
Nobody likes Baker, so being a backup quarterback that nobody likes, I'm not
That's
getting
a recipe for disaster,
not getting the
to be
Mike
honest.
White, Taylor Heineke vibes that I'm getting at those guys out of Baker Mayfield. Just not getting it.
Alrighty, so Baker Mayfield, no go. Jimmy G, all right, this is going to be probably the hottest commodity going in the offseason outside of Tom Brady, a la if he comes back. Jimmy G this year has had himself a year, and then he gets hurt. 16 touchdowns, 4 picks, gone for the year. Coming off an injury again is not the most appealing thing in the world, but he still is a decently young quarterback. Right now, 26th ranked. 1350 in future value. He's got some decent bank value already, considering of all the playoff appearances that he's had. He's banking only 231 a season, so they're looking at this guy saying, Jimmy G is going to be a relevant quarterback probably for the next 5 years and somebody's starter. Who's it going to be? Where's Jimmy G going next year?
I think Jimmy G's going to have to go in somewhere with a young quarterback there, much like the similar situation that he was just in this season with San Francisco, where there's going to be a spot for him to win a job on a team that has a good defense. I think if his agent's smart, he'd try and go to the Jets. He'd try and go to the Commanders. He'd try and go to one of these teams that are a little bit of a game-managing type team, quarterback away from being a real competitive team. And I think, if you were willing to kick the tires on a Carson Wentz at $30 million, I think Jimmy G at whatever dollar amount, probably around 15, 20 this year, or for a 2-year stretch, is worth it. I think good backup money if it doesn't pan out and you have a rookie quarterback on his contract. You don't think he could start? I do. I absolutely think Jimmy G could start for about 10 to 12 games, and then we see what happens every year. Okay. I understand that the injury
So you're just following the trend, really.
Following the trends of, and look, Jimmy G, you could make the case that he's held the teams back that he's played for, but then you could also make the case that those teams win when he's playing.
I was going to say, NFC Championship appearance last week.
10-2 in games where 10-2 in games where he has 0 touchdown passes. That's not a great stat for the Mojo Market, but that is a great stat for having some confidence in NFL executives. Whereas, look, even when this guy doesn't get it done, if you put him in the right spot, he puts his ego aside. He's down to hand the ball off 40 times a game and throw dink and dunks. So I think Jimmy G, we're going to see Jimmy G on another team, maybe 2 more teams. His career is far from over because he's proven to me that, people rally behind the guy. When Trey Lance got hurt, 49ers didn't miss a beat. That's part coaching, but it's also part the fact that there's a calm that comes over the huddle when Jimmy G's there. I've never been in the huddle with Jimmy G, but you see, like I said, 10-2 in games that he has 0 touchdown passes.
Listen,
so no matter what,
he might not give a rat's
he's not getting it done
about stats,
but he plays within himself and they win football games.
His bigger stat right now is winning games. So a very big question mark in New York, and we're not talking about Zach Wilson right now because he's locked in for a little while. We're talking about Daniel Jones. Danny Dimes comes up at the end of this year. Contract's over. Decline the 5th-year option. You're a free agent, Danny Dimes. What are you going to do? Daniel Jones this year has had a pretty good year. I'm not going to say it's the most astronomical stat-driven year. Only 12 touchdowns because he's not throwing at anybody. Ain't nobody over there catching the ball. But he does have almost 2,700 yards. He's rushed for 583, so he uses his legs as a weapon. Under Coach Daboll, I feel like there's a newfound confidence in this kid just based off of some of the sounds of the sidelines that you hear when things go right for the Giants. Like, you can hear Daboll, like, that's the way to play quarterback, kid. Like, he likes this kid. So all signs to me, if I look at Daniel Jones right now, $26.79 is the share price, $9.49 in the future. He's averaging $4.16 a season. I think this guy gets a 3-year deal with the New York Giants. 3 years. Maybe 4 if we're stretching it with that whole player option crap. But I'm saying, like, I think that Daniel Jones will be the starting quarterback going forward for the New York Giants next year.
I agree. I think they have no choice because when you're looking
at
a choice, they don't. Look at the free agent quarterback class.
Jimmy G. You know what I mean? Like, they have a choice. No?
Right. Yeah, no.
All right.
They're not going to if you're going to move off of Daniel Jones, who I would put around like quarterback 20 to 25 in the league, I'm putting Jimmy G in the same spot. Daniel Jones doesn't miss football games, and there's a continuity there. I don't know that that would be the right move.
They found a clone of Eli Manning. Like, God doesn't miss football games.
Like
big moments.
The 4 interceptions, I think, is the most telling thing because the big bugaboo with Daniel Jones was taking care of the football, and he's managed to do that, and the record translates into wins because of it. I think he's probably going to get a 2 or 3 year deal. You could look at it. It might be a little bit more heavy on the guarantees if it's a short-term deal.
Maybe a Kirk Cousins type situation?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. A Kirk Cousins type deal, maybe even a Ryan Tannehill type situation that he got on his second contract. But I don't think it's necessarily the right move. I don't think Daniel Jones is going to take off from here. I think what you see is what you get with him. And there's a chance that he could play winning football throughout, but I'm not sold on Daniel Jones as being the guy that's going to be able to take him to the next level. But I am sold on his second contract with the New York Giants. So for that reason, I'm in on Daniel Jones. But I'm going to be in until that contract gets signed, and then I'll probably look to sell.
Okay, interesting. I like that take. Somebody who also is playing out of his mind and way over anything anybody ever expected is one Geno Smith. Now, talking about Daniel Jones before, talking about guys like, well, just Daniel Jones, I guess Tom Brady too, but playoff teams. Geno Smith has a chance to not only rack up some numbers in the next 3 weeks, but he has a chance to put the Seattle Seahawks in the playoffs this year when, again, I went on record and said the Bears and the Seahawks would be 1-2 as far as the draft order. I'm going to hit with the Bears, and I'm going to mess up with the Seahawks. Geno Smith, 3,600 yards, right? 26 touchdowns to just 8 picks, so he's got better numbers than Tom Brady this year. That's not my opinion. That's straight up.
I mean, Geno's got better numbers than a lot of guys.
Geno Smith has 281 yards on the ground. Geno Smith right now is the 33rd ranked quarterback on the Mojo Market. To me, that's a little low, right? Like considering what he's done this year and how much he's banked.
I heard Baker at 31st. That's crazy to me.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So his future value is $12.22. He's averaging only $1.20 a season. Are we about to see like 10 years more? I mean, not 10, but like 8 years more of just scattered football? Because I know me and you both went on record. The Seattle Seahawks just locked this dude up. Like, that seems to be your guy.
Yeah.
You've thrown a lot of support behind him throughout the course of this first, 3 quarters of the year.
Again, if you have a quarterback that you're winning football games with right now in the NFL, you're going to be hard pressed to move off of that guy, especially with the class that we're looking at. We're going through these guys. There really hasn't been any names that jump out at me. Tom Brady's not moving up to the Northwest in Seattle. I can promise you that. So, and nor would that be an upgrade at this point. I think Geno Smith and Tom Brady, I'm not going to actually throw that shade at Brady and say.
No, you could throw it at him this year.
The realistic version going forward, like how much longer is Tom Brady going to be able to continue to do this? Not much longer. Geno Smith, you would imagine that he's kind of hitting his prime right now. He doesn't have the wear and tear of a typical 10-year vet.
No.
And
he doesn't play that like reckless like a Justin Fields, like he's always looking to run.
Geno's going to get paid a little bit this offseason.
I think so too.
He deserves it. I'm happy for Geno. I will buy in on Geno just because we talk about Mojo and like why aren't you in on everybody that you think is going to go up? Because some guys I just simply don't like, right? And it's all about
that's okay.
It's all about having fun on the Mojo Market. I think when Geno gets paid, I would like to get paid as well, and we can celebrate together. So I'm going to go long on Geno for this one for sure.
I like that. Just for all intents and purposes, I know it's not the last game of the year, but there's something to be said to keep your eye on a Week 17 matchup where the Seahawks might absolutely need to have it. Because in Week 18, the Seahawks got the Rams, right? And I think they'll just kind of take care of business. But in a game you have to have, and it's against the New York Jets, the team that just kind of gave up on you and said, you know what, you're no good. Man, you talk about receipts. He's going to pull them all.
Well, to be fair, the Jets had no business hanging on to Geno at that point.
At that point, no. But this is a resurgence, and I love to see it. Speaking of resurgence, he was given the job, or kind of earned the job back, considering how bad the quarterback play was in Carolina. Sam Darnold, is he going to be even a remote option on the market right now? Because I know he's a free agent. He's the 44th ranked quarterback on Mojo. $4.11 in future value, $3.64 a season. He's just under $20 to buy in on Sam Darnold. I think personally, with a new coaching regime and a high draft pick, the Carolina Panthers are going to draft a quarterback, right? That's going to be the guy. So Sam Darnold's going to be out in Carolina. Does any team take a gamble on him to be the starter?
I do not agree with you at all that he is out in Carolina.
Whoa.
And I'll say why. Right?
Please
because
do.
Unless they have, there could be a potential PJ Walker as the backup, right? I'm not sure if he's on a 2-year deal or what, but I know that
he might go back to the XFL.
He might go. I doubt that. He proved that he belongs on a roster in the NFL, I think. But Sam Darnold has proved that he's also belongs on an NFL roster. So yes, 100%, Sam Darnold is going to get another shot. I don't know if he's going to get a shot to be a starter because right now the Panthers have Matt Corral, right, sitting this season. He's hurt, so they get what they potentially have a project in a Matt Corral right now. We obviously know Carson Wentz is going to be out of town after this season.
You would think. I mean, you would think. We're going to talk about Heineke next, but like you would think he's out. But
wow, yeah. How about this? This conversation is so similar. I'm about to have the exact same conversation for the next two quarterbacks because I think Sam Darnold has a realistic chance of sticking around in Carolina and them being as high as they are in the draft with also another project in the wings in Matt Corral. I think they draft a quarterback and have Sam Darnold there to compete for the job and potentially be the starter and have 3 guys going into the season, much like they did this year with Baker, Matt Corral, and Darnold. They're going to have Darnold do the exact same thing. But look, there's been spurts in Sam Darnold's career. They started the season last year at 3-0, and he played really well. Wheels came off. Shut up. The wheels came off. Now, it was quite the opposite this year where they started out, Sam Darnold gets hurt. I think, did he start the first season? No, it was Baker, right? Baker. So Sam Darnold gets hurt regardless. And then he ends up being the 3rd quarterback to get a start this year. But when he did, with the new head coach, I'm not sure how that's going to play out. But
he hasn't thrown a pick yet.
Hasn't thrown a pick yet, and they're winning games. You know, they managed to put themselves.
I'm looking at the standings
relevancy.
right in front of me. They're a game out of first place.
Well, yeah,
they are. I mean,
they're playing better football with Sam Darnold. There's no question about it. That the interim head coach, he has a real chance at sticking around for another season next year.
I think he's out. Regardless.
You read that, or you think?
No, I think that.
Well, I read that there's legitimate legs to him getting the job.
Cool. There was also legs for Pistachio to take the job in Oakland or Las Vegas, and they kicked him to the curb for Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So I'm just saying,
buyer's remorse there, maybe. Though.
Maybe, but in any event, I guess.
But yeah, I think Sam Darnold sticks around in Carolina more likely than not.
So you're in on him then, like right now, just like.
No, I think he's going to be the backup.
Oh, okay.
I think he'll have a chance to compete for the job, but it's too risky. We're talking about a ton of guys right now. There's 4 guys above him on the list that we talked about that I'd go in on, even if that means shorting Baker. I'm still in on shorting Baker before I'm
personal vendetta
before I'm investing in Sam Darnold. But Sam Darnold has a job next year, I can promise you that, and it's most likely the backup quarterback for the Carolina Panthers or starter about to get benched quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. That's what I look at Sam Darnold as.
Similar conversation as Taylor Heineke start for the Washington Commanders next year. He's a free agent. They've already went on record. Ron Rivera said if he doesn't right the ship, they might go back to Carson because considering the Commanders are still in the hunt right now as far as the standings are concerned and the playoff hunt, they have to make a move. To me, I don't foresee that move happening. I think the Washington fans would rebel.
If he wants to lose his fan base,
he would completely
his locker
screw
room
it up.
And potentially his job.
But
then you could start Carson Wentz.
But is Heineke the guy?
No. I like Taylor Heineke.
Did they let him walk? Is what I'm saying.
No.
So he's going to re-sign with the Red.
He's a much
Commanders.
more safe backup and a more willing, capable, able backup, likable guy. The team rallied behind him 2 straight seasons or 3 seasons in a row, even if I'm not sure how far it goes back. But yeah, Taylor Heineke's a commander. He's just not going to. He's going to compete for the starting job, much like
what you just said.
Matt Corral. They have Sam Howell, a mid to late round pick. They have a guy like Taylor Heineke who seems to be like a darling with the fan base, but we understand that he's holding this team back. They're going to probably look to get a rookie quarterback. If not a rookie quarterback, one of these other guys that we talked about, Jimmy G might fit in well with that type of team.
Truth.
But I do see him sticking around in town because the fan base really likes him, and he's shown a willingness to take a back seat and let them try somebody else out without being an annoying guy about it, without being a pain in the locker room.
There you go. I like it.
I'm not sure annoying guy is the right
word. We look at free agents, right? We look at free agents, and all the guys that we listed today, besides maybe we've said that Daniel Jones will stick around, Geno Smith is going to stick around, Sam Darnold will probably be there as a backup, but Baker, Jimmy, Tom Brady, Heineke, they could all be on the move. Somebody that nobody really thinks will be on the move is also a free agent. That's Lamar Jackson. He's one of the best in the league for a reason, right? I mean, everybody knows my opinion and stance on him. He's a running back who can throw sometimes, right? Like, and he's won MVPs. You can't take that away from the guy. Like, he's an electrifying player with highlight reel potential on every time he touches the ball. This year has been banged up. The Ravens are technically right now just kind of looking around like, are we about to miss this thing?
They're probably not going to win their division, but they're
firmly entrenched in a wild card spot, I would think. They're 9-5. But Lamar Jackson is betting on himself, decided not to play, or at least kind of not re-sign, or whatever the case may be. He's fighting for himself right now. He's getting hurt a couple times now in the last 2 years. Gooch, I understand you're an investor. I'm not talking. Take the Baltimore Ravens aside, right? You're an investor in Lamar Jackson right now. Are you thinking that this is going to surge with a new contract, or is this going to surge because he just makes a splash and goes elsewhere and leaves Baltimore? Like, are you just banking on the fact that this guy's going to be a star no matter what, injuries aside, he's going to go forward?
Wherever he goes, he's going to be a star player. I don't know how the passing stats are going to translate, but Lamar
17 touchdowns, 7 picks this year.
And he does amazing things with the ball. So I'm not in on Lamar, though, because I think there's a potential. These quarterback situations tend to get ugly, but we don't really see the quarterback situation stay ugly. It usually gets hammered out before the season starts. It's not like a receiver or running back where you're like, you know what, this guy could sit. Go ahead. You're not having your quarterback sit. You really can't afford to have your quarterback miss camp. So I think there's going to be a real urgency to get this deal done. The Ravens have all the leverage here. Lamar doesn't. And the
Especially
only
after
leverage,
injury, yeah.
The only leverage Lamar has realistically is to leave maybe $40 to $50 million on a table just to sit one season out of principle, but then that affects your back end. You might get that deal, but you're missing a season of your prime. That's important. It's a tough spot. Lamar will play next season. I don't know that Lamar is going to practice one game.
He's not playing on that tag. No way. Does he play on a franchise tag?
I got 40, 30. What is it?
It's up there. It's like close to 40 million. Yeah.
I mean,
or 30, I think it's 35.
He'll be very pissed off about it, but it's tough. That's a lot of money to leave on the table.
Oh my God. And this is all Deshaun Watson's fault, by the way, who shifted the market. The franchise tag for 2023 quarterbacks is $45 million.
Yeah, so
he's going to play on the franchise
tag, but he's not going to be happy about it.
Not going to be a happy camper.
And let me tell you something else.
$45 million.
He might even be seeing $45 million in the following year on the transition tag. And
do they have estimations for 2024? They do, actually.
I mean, he would have to get less money. They couldn't franchise tag him 2 years in a row. But then there would be a qualifying offer situation.
I'm just saying, just so everybody's aware, there is an estimation for a 2024 franchise tag. It goes from $45 to $54 million. And
that's because they're anticipating Lamar signing this massive guaranteed deal that's going to
talk about market projections.
And you blame Deshaun Watson. I blame the Cleveland Browns. That was such a bad deal.
It's horrible. There are two guys that are technically free agents, but they're not really because they're coming out of college. They're going to be drafted. We're going to dive more into the draft as the draft gets closer, but two guys clearly on top of the others, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young. The comparison between the two right now, which is kind of crazy. C.J. Stroud is the 27th ranked, and Bryce Young is the 24th. Now, they combine these two, so they're already got bigger share prices than some of the current NFL starting quarterbacks, which is, again, that just goes to show you.
The average starter is sitting at around 60, right? So that's the average starter. There's some starters in this league that we just talked about. I'm looking at some of these guys.
Right. The average is skewed, I think, because of Tom Brady's share price. Well, that skewed to hell and back. The reason why the average is high.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, it's an average. These guys are, they're higher than. Put it this way, they're higher than starting quarterbacks. There's maybe not more than half, but they're like you said, sitting at 24th, 25th.
Both guys, respectively. Now remember, no bank value for college of quarterbacks right now. There is future value. Future value for CJ is $34.69. Bryce is at $37. So basically, what they're saying to you is that these two quarterbacks will have better careers to start than pretty much everybody we talked about except Tom Brady, and maybe Lamar Jackson.
I feel like they're both going to be playing in the AFC South.
So Maybe all of a sudden the AFC South becomes the NFC East, and then all of a sudden they were a joke of a division 2 years ago, and all of a sudden they're the cream of the crop. But we'll see.
There's potential to have Trevor Lawrence, C.J. Stroud, and Bryce Young all in one division. I think whoever the Texans take out of the two, obviously
the
goes
Colts
one
take the
overall.
other.
The Colts would be looking to take the other one. I'm not sure how the top 5 is going to shake out.
They're missing on the team. Oh, and not for nothing, and maybe even Malik Willis would be the starter over in Tennessee.
I was going with like good quarterbacks, potentially good quarterbacks. I don't think Malik Willis is going to be good. But
Interesting take. All right.
Talking about the draft, I'll just insert this. Could you imagine with the Eagles sitting at top 5 right now?
I don't want to talk about this right now.
But let me just say one guy's name. And if you put this player on the Eagles, it would probably be a bad future move. It would not be good for their future of the organization because we see it with Dallas. We see it with Giants. But if the Eagles take Bijan Robinson with like the 5th pick,
running backs.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, that is going to be a problem.
Running backs. We'll talk about them tomorrow, and we'll also preview the Jets and the Jaguars Thursday night football matchup. A big matchup when it comes to the playoff standings and the playoff push. So do yourself a favor today before you get going with your day. Follow Mojo on all the social media platforms. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, @Mojo, M-O-J-O. Very easy to find us. Follow us on the Discord. Join the conversation each and every day. It's a fun time over there. People are sharing their portfolios, comparing their portfolios, doing all sorts of things on the Mojo Market. So we want to thank you for joining us today. Tomorrow, like I said, little Thursday night football action, getting into the running backs. Friday, our show will be taped tomorrow. We will preview the slate of games to really keep your eye on. We are right there, guys. We're right there. It's sad, but also very exciting. The season's coming to a very, very
abrupt end.
Yes, it's going to be. It's perfect. Dave Sturchio, Chris Gueci, A5 behind the glass. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I was so depressed.